Hi everyone, welcome to this lesson 6 of the Funk Fundamentals course. In today's lesson we are going to check out our top 5 tips in order to master the strumming technique in the funk music. So before we jump into the lesson and we see these tips, don't forget to subscribe to the channel in order to see all the other videos that we upload and release here on YouTube. And remember that you can click in the link in the description below to see a full write-up of this lesson and a full write-up of all the other lessons with backing tracks and moving tabs in order to practice all the other things that we learned in this Funk Fundamentals course so far. Alright, so the first tip that we are going to talk about today in order to master the strumming technique in the funk music is going to be make sure to be loose with your movement on the picking hand. So you don't want to have any tension, you don't want to strum the strings like this, you know, in a very rigid way. You want to be very relaxed, and in order to be that you have to be extremely loose on the fretting hand in order to just let the rhythm go and create your groove. If you are loose, if you are relaxed, this is something that is gonna be heard when people listen to your rhythms. The second tip we are going to check out today is the way you are going to strum with your picking hand. You want to make sure to strum with your wrist. So the movement should never come from your forearm, shouldn't be like this, it shouldn't be something very, moving all of your elbow and stuff like that. It should always be very relaxed, just rotating your wrist. So my advice is to hold the pick a little bit more on the edge with 2 fingers only, thumb and index, and place your picking hand slightly farther away from the strings. In this way you'll be more relaxed and you will be able to actually rotate more your wrist rather than being too close to your strings, and in this way it's more likely that you're going to move your elbow and in general your forearm rather than your wrist. So if I move my elbow and if I play with my forearm, the rhythm that I'm going to produce is going to be very heavy like this, and I don't have any control. So if I do the same thing, just moving my wrist and rotating my wrist, everything should be much smoother and much more funky, and it sounds like so it's all about the rotation that comes from the wrist. The third tip that we want to introduce in this lesson is going to be the dynamic. You want to make sure that when you play your strokes in the strumming technique, you don't want to play all of them with the same volume. They can be, some of them could be, for example, a little bit louder if you know that you're going to play an accent, but majority of them could be definitely lower volume, a little bit lower with the dynamic if you want to play quieter, if you want to play something like this where you don't play everything flat, you don't have the same volume coming up from all of the strokes that you are going to play. So a variety in the dynamic is something that adds something more to the flavor of what you're playing. So it's definitely much more groovy if you work a little bit on the dynamics, and you should be able to play the same kind of rhythm, definitely with a lower dynamic. And then whenever you need it, increase it. Still doing your usual rotation with the wrist, but just playing louder, and then mixing the two things, playing The fourth tip that we want to include in this list is the use of the ghost notes. We saw in a previous video of this course how to use the ghost notes and how to create the chaka chaka sound, the percussive hit of the strings without any pitch. Now what we want to do, we want to make sure that every time you play any rhythm, if you have an empty beat or even half a beat empty, you can always decide to sometimes play ghost notes and sometimes just keep moving your fretting your picking hand. So for example, if I play something like this is quite empty, and I might want to play here and there ghost notes, keep moving my picking hand in 16th notes as we usually do. So for example, the same thing could become like You don't necessarily have to play all of the 16th notes in ghost notes when you're not hitting any accent, but you can feel free to experiment with them in order to create your best groove. Our fifth and last tip for this masterclass on the strumming technique in the funk music is going to be practice with a beat. So if you practice with a beat, you are always going to be sure to be in time with the other instruments. And when you'll try to play with your friends and you'll look for that sort of interplay, you're going to be much more comfortable, and everything you play will tie up much better with what the other musicians are playing. So the best way to do that is practicing with a metronome, practicing with a beat, and even better with a backing tracks. Don't forget that clicking the link in the description below and heading to our website, you'll find the full course with a full write-up and loads of backing tracks, even moving tabs with myself playing. You can slow it down and try at your own tempo and then increase the tempo once you feel it more comfortable. So you've got plenty of resources to actually practice with a beat all the time. Alright, I hope that this list of tips helps you guys. If you have any questions about any of the things that I mentioned in this video, please feel free to leave a feedback in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to check out all the other lessons that we release here on YouTube. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll be seeing you in the next lesson.